Good evening. You are listening live to the Xtreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob, broadcasting to you from some sort of shitty park in the middle of downtown Los Angeles. The year is 1984, and I've got my rookie cop partner here, RDB, to join me because tonight we're talking about karate women, boobs, Scarface, a movie that's made on about a $15 budget, maybe 20 if you count the beer in here, unless they got freebies. RDB, this is a late night B movie that has a ton of full frontal, lots of ample amounts of brestitude, if you want to call it here. This is a pretty much an 80s staple. It's basically a female death wish, and I will say this movie's not good. It's a one-time watch, but it's actually kind of fun and entertaining in a really horrible sort of way. And this is the kind of movie that you would have looked at and said, you know what, the main lady, maybe somebody else in the film, you go, okay, I can see where they got their start, and then they built from there. Because what do you say about a film where a woman who just goes Charles Bronson on everybody minus the gun and tries to Van
I,
Damme
I
them
gotta
all?
say that's inspiring. I mean, whether it's a guy or a girl, I mean, 80s New York or California, like I said, like even today, the crime. Someone's actually standing up and actually, taking on creeps, and then getting in trouble with the law. Well, it's bound to happen. But the big thing is that I don't think we have that many people left that'll actually stand up and say if someone's getting mugged, we'll go over and actually try to help them. That being said, there might be a few people, but the majority, as it was back then, I think it's dwindled. But that's because we're raising guys as pussies. But anyway,
Well, the
speaking,
thing is in the 80s, there was a backlash about vigilante
yeah,
films and why they're so popular. And we've reviewed all the
yeah,
Dirty Harry films here on the Extreme Movie Show. And so we've talked about that from the first film. And politics aside, it was very engaging about seeing somebody take matters in their own hands. And the original Paul Kersey, Charles Bronson, Death Wish guy, was a pretty quiet, old school liberal who discovered the powerful equalizing nature of a handgun, and he learned how to use it. And even in 1985, Death Wish 3, which comes out, which most people think is a horrible movie, they kind of up the action in it too. But here, what I like about Alley Cat, our movie tonight from 1984, is we get this young woman. She looks like Pat Benatar, but with an extreme body because her waist is about 18 inches and her chest is about 40. Um, and she just goes out there and starts kicking some punk's ass who are stealing parts from her car. But of course, they're the stooges for a guy named Scarface, who I think honestly steals the show in his scenes, even though he's not in her a lot, because he's bad mouthing back and forth between his naked girl that keeps going back and forth, and she tries to one up him, saying how she's got the clap. And then the scene where they're driving around in the car, and it's like,
yeah.
"Drive, you asshole, drive!" I'm like, he kind of owned it there a little bit.
Michael
So,
Wayne played AKA Scarface.
yep,
A really good actor here, despite being in a B level movie that no one's probably ever heard of, or maybe saw it back in the day because you're like, "What the hell is that movie?" And then you saw like Nightmare on Elm Street instead, or something else.
right.
So I gotta say though, for being a B movie, this was actually a really fun movie, and I can see why. I mean, it captures the vigilante aspect really well. Obviously, like I said, it's most people might say this. Well, it's a woman. Well, she's fighting against men. Well, this is a feminist movie. I mean, I look at it whether the gender or not. It's the fact that it's a guy going around and beating up other guys.
Hmm.
They're still creeps, no matter what gender it is.
True.
It was kind of cool. I mean, seeing the karate she's doing in this, some of it was kind of like slowed down. It wasn't really that fast, compared
Very
to if you watch it.
rehearsed.
Yeah, if you haven't
Very
watched it,
AEW ish.
it's more like WWF where they don't even, they're afraid to do high flying moves. You know, I know. It's the no fly zone. No, so I gotta say though, I love the scenery. I mean, the creeps were like I guess the gang crooks. Were basically what you'd see, like the wannabe, like they're the losers. I swear one of the guys looked like the guy from he looked like was it BJ or from MASH the movie,
Hmm.
BJ Cunningham, whatever. I can't remember what his is. But overall, like I said, it actually no, I take it back. He looked more like Martin Kreese. Or Kreese.
Well, I don't know about
Mark
that.
no, and what was that? Rambo 2, the helicopter pilot. And that in a sense, he had the curly hair, the blonde, he's all kind of cocky and stuff. Anyway, the plot, low plot is basically this woman. These guys think that these two goons, Lenny and Squeaky, think they're gonna steal her tires. She's living with her grandparents. Tells her grandparents to leave the light off. She goes out there, tells them to leave her car as it is. They think they're cocky. They're gonna beat her up. She kicks her ass. The grandpa comes out and with his prop gun fires blanks. Because if you didn't fire real bullets, her car would have been Swiss cheese. So later on, they see Lenny and Squeaky go up to this guy, basically like, oh yeah, Scarface, whatever. We had a problem. This woman, she kicked the crap out of us. The old man. So he's like, okay, well, all right. I'll let you do it. I'll go and I'll take care of the crap for you. Basically, they track down the grandparents are at this like little convenience store. So they're, the main dude walks in, sees them. And and then he gets back in the car. Then they go drive, and then when the old people are walking, the grandparents walking out the sidewalk, they stop them. They stick them with knives. They cut off the woman's. They want her rings. They cut off her finger. She goes in a coma. This brings the girl back into where she meets the cop. She slams the door in his face because she's pissed off because the gay guy, yes, he's gay, clearly flaming in this. He's working as a receptionist, so he's totally ignoring her, which is kind of weird though to put a gay guy, I guess, working as a receptionist. Is I don't think in the 80s was that really a thing. I mean, I can see that today. It
wasn't the movies.
Yeah,
so you got to understand generationally, things were introduced into films even at a background sort of level to kind of normalize it. So in the 80s, you got a lot of swishy, effeminate types that were playing in certain roles, and this guy's obviously not dressed effeminate. He just sounds like, and he's talking like that on there. And of course, he's talking about his gay lover that he's with, and you're like, okay.
Clearly get the idea, but either way, I'm just saying
it was wholly weird that they were in.
It was weird that they even did that because it could have easily had a girl do the same kind of role, stuck up person. So she goes through the door looking for her grandparents, slams into Robert Tottori, who basically looks like the guy from PJ Hooker.
That's Adrian's med, sir.
I know, but I'm saying I just got that vibe.
Adrian's med would kick his ass.
They're the polite guy,
No, he's the guy that in the 1980s would be attracted to a woman, would hound her till he forced her to buy him dinner. Then they'd end up having sex.
Are you talking about Ninja 3?
I'm talking any 80s movie. And then after you have sex with her, wants to marry her. I mean, that's how it went in the 80s.
Well, don't you remember Ninja 3? Same thing.
Exactly. That's my point.
But regardless, so yes. So they identify the guy, and because she goes out looking for basically patrolling. She takes her grandpa's gun, goes to the park, stops a rape. Then they wait. They call the cops. Shows the lady. She's holding the other guys at gunpoint. Cop shows up. Lover boy, basically cop. Robert Tottori's senior partner, because he's only a rookie. Pretty much, he's basically the corrupt police officer. He's the one that basically everybody hates today when it comes to cops, saying they throw their power around. Basically, she doesn't like the fact that she talked back to him and called him out for his bullshit. So she basically is like, "Oh, that's not your gun. That's and you're arrested for a concealed permit for concealing a gun without a permit." In California, I don't think they're easy to say you can still carry at all. Regardless, only people have permits are people with guns, or have guns. It would be like what do you say? The cops probably. I don't think the DA is even allowed to call the cops. But
depends on where you're at, but definitely, you know, it takes a lot to get one.
So she gets hauled into the jail, and the lover boy cop pays her bail. This smug little lawyer Bonds guy is like, I'm like, what's with all the 70s? Because throughout this movie, it's got a 70s
soundtrack. You're right.
It's got a 70s porn theme going.
It does. The waka chicka waka chicka.
I just kept thinking like Chuck Norris is going to jump out of the window, and be like, thumbs up, let's kick some ass, because it just felt so cheesy. But overall, though, the plot was pretty good. Frontal nudity was good too. I'm just glad they didn't show any guys, because usually in these movies they're like, we're gonna show the guy's dick, or the ass, if it's been a Stallone movie, which is really weird.
Butt shots are okay.
Yeah, I don't even. Yeah, regardless. But anyway,
package is secure
behind something else. I don't want to see it. So anyway, after that, she has to go to court, and she ends up because the DA is incompetent, which is believable.
He's not incompetent. He's a bedwetting liberal put on the court, and she's railing against the injustice of
he's incompetent. Where do you not see that in there? Anyway, so he's basically he's a dweeb.
He's making decisions based on his philosophy as he fits.
So the judge ends up basically like being a hard ass and gives it basic, even though with the lover boy giving testimony, she goes to jail. If you got for about what was it for like a year, probationary for a year, and she's supposed to like $500, whatever. Equal time for seeing junk. No, thank you. I'm good. Marania, it's not that type of movie. You want to see those movies? Go watch the karate movies, or watch any Stallone movie.
If I was a guy in the movie, I would want to show my ass as much as possible. I mean, that's just how it is. Take my shirt off, absolutely. Go full McConaughey.
But you get to see the guy with the shirt off, okay? Multiple times.
But come on,
Even the bad guy is walking around in his Speedo with his junk.
If she's going to take her clothes off in the first 30 seconds of the film, and you see everything, just to change, so then she can go out and kick the guy's ass that are stealing her car tires, then why can't a guy do that?
Well, if you want to watch those movies, go ahead. I will not watch those movies.
I'm just saying.
No,
and you're forgetting the most important part of this movie. It's not just all the amounts of nudity in here. It's the fact that she's wearing a very awesome, subtle, basic designed Nike tracksuit that she walks around to sucker these people and to beat their ass. She's that I'm going to walk around in a miniskirt, and then when you try to rape me, I'm going to kill you. I mean, it's beautiful, right? I mean, it's awesome. Those old Nike simple designs on the shoes and the swoosh, not these stupid patterns that they've all done now and dumbed down because for some reason they think it sells. Man, Nikes back in the day were the best.
I thought the best part was all the cars, man. You don't see one freaking crossover.
Well, that's true.
All you see is real American steel.
That is true. That is true. Though Scarface, even though when they're going through the mugshots to identify the perps, I had to throw perps in there. You see him as like 5'10", 140, which means he's a pencil neck geek. But he looks good. I mean, he has a good look in his face. He's got a good sleazy look, is the word I'll say, not manly, but sleazy.
I said he looks like
he's a sleaze bag. He looks real.
He's like a Razor Ramon, but like smaller and weaker. But overall, though, like if this had been made today, yeah, she would have just been a total Mary Sue kind of crap. But and that's so actually, even though she wasn't really, like I said, she was using their own momentum against him. Basically, he's like a comic book or whatever. He wasn't going around like stopping their they go to punch her and grabbing their fist and be like, no, I'm stronger than you. No, she actually got some licks in from them, especially at the end. The main bad guy, the fight scene. But overall, though, I gotta say though, I'm digging the Arby's Cup in here.
Yeah, this is so guerrilla filmed budget wise. It was like, yeah, it is an Arby's because the one chick in there is talking, and I'm like, I forgot who she was or why she was there, other than to be a friend. But she's pleasantly plump, and she's got the Arby's thing going on. I'm like, yeah, Burger King. We saw in one movie earlier, and now I'm seeing the Arby's. I'm like, okay, this is well because you have to pay for that. You can't just go do it. So Nike obviously benefited them, just like members only jackets, with Chuck Norris and a lot of the bad dudes in the 80s. But these guys are so really beneath that they could even get the members only jackets, right? So the bad guys don't dress in good clothes, and therefore, by nature, unlike say Christopher Lee and the Man with the Golden Gun, who popularized the tracksuit wearing bad guys, it means they were ineffective. So fashion is very important when we talk about movies because it's going to ultimately determine the effectiveness of the character, particularly the bad guys. It's a little 50-50 that way. So I just got Maranya's comment about equal time for equal parts. And, the fashion part is what I like to talk about here on the Extreme Movie Show.
I got to say, though, the other funny part here is a guy here. He's the actor Tony Oliver. I forget what his character was. His character is Bob Martell. The guy's famous for doing a lot of anime English dub voice acting. Yeah. He played Rick Hunter in Robotech, if you remember that, or he was Lupin the Third.
Yeah, Robotech was a thing.
Yeah. He helped produce Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, VR Troopers. Like, I was like, there actually is somebody here who actually did a lot more stuff. I was like, wow. But overall, I said, like, I enjoyed the movie for what it was. I mean, I understand it's a B movie. It's probably a movie I'd probably watch again,
It's harmless. It really is. It's not vulgar, and it's certainly not violent like you.
Trying to find this movie, though, on VHS, good luck, because it's probably paused a lot. It could be good quality.
There has been at least a DVD, if not a Blu-ray of it. The print that I saw was excellent. I mean, looked really, really good.
Well,
And
I watched on Amazon Prime, so that was pretty good.
good, good. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just saying it's a movie that I'm surprised there's not a lot more availability of it because of how it is. And there's actually not a lot of information out about it or reviews for the most part. You know, there's a few
No,
YouTubers that do it, but the thing is when a movie like this has that much nudity in it, and when I say full frontal, I mean bush. You would have that in movies. Usually it'd be a cheesy boob shot, and of course, side boob is so current generation. But here in the 80s, the fact that she was willing to do that, and you know, it has pluses and it takes you in places you don't think it would go until you realize what's happening because she does go to like prison. So what does that mean? An all-female prison. So what happens in all-female prison? Well, you get somebody trying to rape you in there, the lesbian chick in the shower who lets her use her
yeah,
soap.
yeah,
Or I'm serious, and she was an Amazon in there too. So,
yeah.
but I think she ends up going back there again, and there's a volleyball fight briefly, and you're like, okay, this goes from
Well,
Death Wish not working
that was
to a
part that
prison
was
chick movie.
the
Hmm.
volleyball part was first, and then after that was a scene where they're in the jail
Yep.
cell.
Yeah.
But like I said, like I to me that was I had no problem with that. I thought it actually felt with the story. It wasn't really traction, like but you get to see the corrupt cop, get beat up by the rookie in the
Yep.
parking lot. He's gonna push his way, and then he's like, "Oh crap!" Because we found out earlier in the movie that Loverboy Robert Tutore, the officer, rookie cop, knows karate, and he invited her, the main girl, out. Said, "Hey, you want to go? I got
Check out my
yeah,
moves.
basically, yeah. Check out my moves, my karate moves." So
This is
she
how.
goes,
So this is his way of seducing her.
yes, yes. Which back kind of it still worked because she felt bad from him. I said like, hey, if you can get it that way, get it anyway. Who cares? Anyway, so they go to the karate thing, and then like she basically hustles him, and he's like, oh crap, you're a belt belt. It's like, well, yeah. How do you not know? Uh, Overall though, I think it's a one and done movie. You can watch as many times as you want to. I think I'll probably watch again probably a couple of years later, or maybe a couple months from now again. Uh, like I said, I actually usually movies more than once, so I watch it, see what I missed the first time.
Right.
Because especially when we're doing this, like I usually watch these movies the day before, or the day of. We're gonna review it, so I just remember stuff. But even right now, there's stuff I'm probably gonna forget about it by mentioning. But overall, though, the fight scene at the end, uh, pretty boy Scarface,
Mm-hmm.
uh, backs over his own buddy.
Guess what's coming to him?
And the guy's like, "Oh no!" Because there's one of those sliding, like a barn door, like for the
Uh-huh.
garage. It slides, goes across from the left or right, and he backs into it. And the guy's behind. There's like, "Oh, what the hell?" He's laying in the boxes, and it gets crushed, and then he's instantly killed. She fights Scarface up in the rain, up on top of his building. This is basically where they hung all the time. This is like their little like apartment building or slash like stomping grounds. And because he has a little chair up there, and because basically we saw him earlier in the movie standing up there with his sleazy girlfriend, Uh, anyway, so they fight, and then at the last minute, she basically kicks him, and he falls off. And you see him fly.
He lands tremendously though.
Oh my gosh!
Because the 80s popularized and for the most part invented people falling off of stuff, and everyone always, of course, thinks of Nakatomi Plaza, but this guy owns it because we see it all the way down until he hits the thing, and it's in one take it bounces off. I thought it was a tremendous way to
Yeah,
go.
yeah. His head bounces. I think it was a dumpster, wasn't it? Or
Yeah,
something like that.
sounded like it.
Bam, and he goes bam, and then it falls over on the other side. Fun movie. Overall, I said I enjoyed it. It's got I looked at that IMDb score of like 5 something out of 10. I'd say it's more like a 7 for me.
Here's a couple things I'll throw at you as we get ready to finish up, but I agree with you. It can be one and done. It's not going to offend you. It's not going to be completely stupid. It's pretty brainless. It's fun. It's not very good, but there's something there with the whole film. Like I say, they involve the lesbian prison stuff. You got a female karate person. You've got a goon that's almost decent, and of course all the goofs that work for him that she has to beat up to get to him. Classic karate action film fare. You've got your side romance with the Adrian Zed wannabe who's got the punchable face. It's like whatever. It's eye candy for the ladies because he's shirtless as much as he can be.
Oh
But here's the thing: I thought, here's a movie that if somebody bought the rights to and went to redo, your story's already there. It would piss a lot of people off now today to make it kind of like that because you never see this kind of nudity in any movie at all
no,
right now, period. And there was a certain, yeah, whatever kind of bit to it in the 80s that, it's like nudity's taboo here. You can wear a short shorts or a bikini in a movie and women think they're daring. And it's like, no, in the 80s, they'd show everything. And so I'm thinking, what if you had something like, an Amy Johnston do this, but take it a little bit more seriously, make the fights more competent, just basically take everything and polish it. Now, would it still be fun? Maybe, but the 80s had a certain level of fun with it too that we get in here because we recognize the stupid assistant cop, the dumb cop who's also on the take, the attempted multiple rapes in this movie, which this has
yeah,
got to be up there in all films as far as how many. It's got all these classic things to it that I'm like, there's got to be a way to take that, and it's the danger of remaking or rebranding something today that I'm talking about because I look at this and go, there's something here. It could be better. It's not awful. It's just sort of there, but it's harmless. Like to your point, it's just fun watching it. It's not that bad. It's bad, but it's entertaining, I guess. It's certainly better than the movie
yeah.
Barbarian, by the way.
So the people who basically were in charge of distributing this film, Film Ventures International, were the same people who did the ripoff of Jaws. Remember Great White?
Yeah.
So that's what they're related to this stuff, yeah, they did. What was it? I saw Glenn Ford was in the Visitor, and it did. And they also had H.G. Wells, The Shape of Things to Come, starring Jack Palance, Kill or Be Killed, Kill Again. These are the guys. That's the company that did this. Kind of like they're like the international like Canon group in a sense.
Yeah.
So I'm also looking at. So basically, if you like this movie, check out Snapdragon with Pamela Anderson. Came out in 1993. The same thing, same kind of movie. And then Shannon Tweed. I'm just saying, Shannon Tweed. These are the same style movies. The guy who basically wrote this story, Robert E. Waters, was produced those movies. But the other one, he actually wrote, other than this Alley Cat, is Fighting Mad, which original title was called Death Force. Came out in 1978. About an American Vietnam soldier on his way home from is left for dead and is saved by a pair of Japanese stragglers from World War II and train him in the way of the samurai. Like I want to, this sounds awesome. James Iglehart or whatever, but and as Carmen Argenzano. But regardless, though, as I said, this was a entertaining movie. If you can stand a little bit of nudity, but overall, the bad guys get what's coming to them. The woman, the female, actually, the vigilante, and it is believable because she does get her ass kicked a little bit. She even gets cut, gets knocked back, but eventually, yes, she wins the fight. And like I said, I'll say this real quickly, and then I'll be done. My final thought is that I love how she gives people attitude and doesn't back down.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
If they do, it's very
assertive.
Yeah.
That's a turn on.
It is.
Doesn't mean you're going to get what you want out of life, but being assertive is something some people. It sends a message you're not going to take crap. And that's the whole idea, is that you're right. She's got a bad accent. I don't know if it's New York or what, but I'm not going to take any crap. And it's not that she's a hothead. She gets mad quickly because she's kind of naive about things, and we see her experience all this because she's a young woman, and but she's confident in her sexuality and what's going on, and living with family, trying to take care of her grandparents, and of course the grandparents get mugged, which is great, and the wife gets stabbed to death.
Good looking babe too.
Definitely has an interesting look, that's for sure. I'll say this: Marania and I are coming up with our own seeds of a movie plot here. Some key ideas: buying tracksuits before each kill, paying cash for them. That'd be like to tell to the audience that she's going to go take somebody out. That's the kind of stuff that you can anticipate.
Make sure you buy those gardening gloves at Home Depot.
Yeah, I was trying to think too, because you and I were almost talking about this the other night offline. I think Marania was in chat for it, and we came up with something where I said if you automatically add this word or a couple sentences, a phrase at the end of each movie name, it oddly makes it a better movie. And for the life of me right now, I cannot friggin' think of what the hell that damn thing is. And I remember in chat we were going, and it was just every movie we could think of. Somebody who typed it in, and it was like, oh yeah, that sounds great. That sounds like a movie I want to see. Because Alley Cat, you think of, hooker, prostitute, slut, tramp, whatever you want to call it, low class individual or like that. So it's not appropriate title to me. So immediately I thought, well, wait a minute, is her name going to be Cat, like short for Catherine or something? I don't know. It might be of death. See, Alley Cat, Karate Woman of Death. That sounds like a 70s action film, right? Black exploitation. You'd want to see that, right?
I kind of want
E.T.
to.
of Death.
Yeah.
I would see that. That means E.T. is going to go take those little twisty fingers and kill some little kids.
I'm looking at
That might be it, Maranya.
her
It may
other role
not be.
before her other role before this for this Karen whatever her name is, May whatever.
Mhm.
She was in Utilities. You ever seen that?
Nope, I don't
Robert
believe
Hayes.
so. I may have because it's Robert Hayes,
Yeah.
only because it was on at the time, but I cannot recall it off the top of my head.
Social worker who has had enough of the bad service of public utilities decides to organize resistance to the phone, gas, and water monopolies, but also to impress the policewoman Marion Edwards, played by Brooke Adams.
Interesting. A better film like this that you and I have talked about reviewing, and I'll just tease people with that, is there's a movie about a young, I think, 14-year-old girl in L.A. Working the streets at night to pay her way through things called not Angel of Death. That's the sequel to, but Angel. And then
Avenging Angel was the
Avenging Angel. One. Yeah, see, I've got Of Death on my mind already. That was one that was at the time only showed late at night on HBO or whatever paid channels you had, and people would talk about, hey, did you see this movie Angel? And unfortunately with Alley Cat, what I don't recall is anybody ever talking about it. I could not find budget information on it, how much money it made. And
the Wikipedia hardly has anything, dude.
No, and that's what's weird. This is almost like one of these lost movies. And so when I stumbled upon it the other night, I was like, man, we might want to try to check this out. It was hard to find stuff. So I'm glad that we're still able to dig these things up, because this movie is absolutely appropriate to be here on the Xtreme Movie Show.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, guys, I know it's a short, quick review here, but this was an interesting movie, definitely appropriate here for it, too. We were just wanting to fill something in and have a little goofy fun with it, too, and Alley Cat certainly fits the bill for that. So thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for on here for the tracksuit specials, I like to call it, because it's just absolutely outstanding. The one dude did have a good jacket in here as well. It was like creamy, light, buttery, leather, light brown jacket. I don't even know what the hell that's called. I forget, but better one was in Twin Peaks. But damn it, this made me want to redo this film. Unlike, say, Barbarian or whatever. Barbarian of Death. See? That would have made it at least passable, right?
I'd be bored of death. Or bored to death. I watched Barbarian. Sorry.
No, you would not like... Well, I don't think you would like Barbarian, so I'll just leave it at that. Well, join us Sunday, guys, as we work on something, and we'll add Of Death to the title and just think it's better, and we might have to do a special thing on that. What movies would be better with this title? Because I'm telling you, it fits. It works.
Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind of Death.
What's the popular movie that's out right now?
Top Gun 2 of Death.
Wakanda Forever of Death. Am I wrong? Nope. Of Death. That might have saved that horror movie.
Halloween Ends of Death.
It kind of did. All right, guys. Have a good night. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. As always, stay extreme.
See you on Sunday.